Trump bickers with top Democrats over border wall funding. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to shut down the government over funding the U.S. southern border wall in budget talks with top Democrats. In a heated exchange with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, Mr. Trump said he would be proud to shut down the government over border security. Lawmakers face a partial shutdown if a spending bill deal is not reached by 21 December. Democrats argue that the $5 billion, £4 billion, Mr. Trump demands is too high. Mr. Trump opened the Oval Office meeting calling it a great honor to have the Democrats present. But the meeting soon turned contentious as Mrs. Pelosi and Mr. Schumer argued that legislation to keep the government open could pass both houses of Congress before funding for some agencies was set to expire on 21 December. The president contended that it could only pass if it met his demands for more funding for his proposed border wall at the U.S.-Mexican border. The clock is ticking. Analysis by Anthony Zurcher, BBC Washington. Donald Trump opened his press event with Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer with a feel-good embrace of bipartisanship. It didn't last long. The two Democrats and the president sparred over funding for the Mr. Trump's proposed border wall. It seemed for a moment as though they might agree on funding for border security, but that linguistic pirouette disappeared beneath an onslaught of acrimony. The president wants his wall funding. He campaigned on it. He promised it. And even though Mexico isn't going to pay for it, he wants it now. Democrats, on the other hand, are loath to give him this victory. What's more, they're intent on having the blame for any government shutdown directed solely at the president. In the end, Mr. Trump gave the Democrats what they wanted. He said he would shut down the government if we don't get what we want. He would be proud to do it. Democrats will try to make the president regret those words. Mr. Trump, on the other hand, thinks the public, or at least his base, is with him in this fight. If neither side blinks, we'll know who is right in a few weeks. After the meeting, Democrat Chuck Schumer condemned Mr. Trump's temper tantrum in the White House Oval Office. Nancy Pelosi, who is expected to become Speaker of the House when Democrats take over the chamber next month, mocked Mr. Trump's Christmas present to the American people as she spoke outside the White House. What happens if no deal is reached? If lawmakers cannot agree on a federal budget, roughly a quarter of the federal government will begin to close down on 21 December. According to the Washington Post, nearly 600,000 government employees will be forced to stay home as several government services become unavailable. Congressional Republicans have demanded $5 billion to build a southern border wall, a key campaign promise of Mr. Trump. On Tuesday, two members of the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus wrote in a Fox News op-ed that they would not vote in favor of the spending bill unless it contains their requested funds.